when I come in, I feel like we're prepping for a game day.
Yeah.
Like, we got our
that.
uniforms on, we're in the black, we have the name tag on, we're looking nice for everybody, we have a smile on our face. It feels like I'm a professional athlete when I come in here. Like, as an employee, like, I feel like, let's go.
Like, we need to start calling out games.
But it's true. It's just like, this is a game day. Like, everybody's pumped up, everybody's excited, and it's just like, you have like your coach and you got your team and you're prepping your team. And one thing that I love before, like, we come in and before the ceremony, before everything really gets started, the team, the staff all meet in like the back room, and it's like coach has got the lineup up on the board. Like,
Well, that's so much. Welcome back to FAB Chats. I'm Cassidy. Today I'm joined with Courtney Kukuk, who is not only a bride we had this past year, but one of our staff members. Welcome, Courtney.
thank you. So Ben's prompting us with exercises.
We're doing
make
a
us more
bonding
prepared.
thing. We're bonding. One of us is going to make a face, and the other one has to make a sound that goes with said face or gesture.
Got it.
Got it. Sick.
Do you want to do the face first?
I don't want to do any of it. Go
I'll
ahead.
do the face first.
Great.
So that I don't have to make any weird noises.
Great. I don't want to make a weird face or a weird sound. Go for it.
Okay, so now that you made that face, Cassidy, you have to make the sound while she makes that face.
Oh, while she makes the face?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought
okay.
it was like you watch me first and then you go.
Okay, go
and
for
do
it. So I saw it. No, go ahead.
I feel like I
That's good, that's good. Okay, now we gotta do it the reverse way.
Do we have to? Hold on. I gotta. I don't know what to do.
Are we going?
We're gonna do two each. So that was one.
Okay. Oh, well, I have to watch her first.
Yeah, no, you saw it. Ready? Ready? Here we
Okay.
go. Ready? 3, 2.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. That tickled.
I don't know what sound I was hearing, but it wasn't that. Pop
I
off,
don't
girl.
know either.
Pop off.
You guys don't know how to do it again.
Hold on.
right?
Ready?
It's
That's
really
a good
good.
one. That's a good one.
Where are you going?
Because I
I
feel
got
like,
it. I got it.
Yeah.
Didn't even watch it. Just
Oh, she's like, I know where you're going.
I do in the hand motions.
Oh, great. Oh, sick. No, can you just tell us who you are and how you're connected to the barn?
Sure. So my name's Courtney Kukuk, and I feel like I have a unique connection here because not only was I a bride here and got married, but also am a staff member. I'm from Galesburg, which is not too far away, and then I'm also a full-time first grade teacher too.
That a blessing. We need more people like you teaching. Couldn't be me. How did you first become involved with us, like as a bride and as a staff member?
Okay, so this is kind of, I feel like I could kind of branch off in two
Do it,
ways
girl.
here, two separate stories, because they're both pretty, important. So Cody and I got engaged in 2022. And during that time, we were just looking at many different venues. And so we had toured probably 4 or 5 venues up to that point. And the last venue that we were going to tour was the barn. And so when we were checking different places out, we were like, everything's pretty great, everything's cool. We come here and we meet Christy for our tour. She takes us around and shows us everything. So at that point, we kind of had an idea, like this is where we would want to have our wedding, and these are the people we'd want to work with. And then during that time when we met for the tour, Christy had gave me the opportunity, and we connected during that short amount of time, and asked me to be a staff member here as well. So that's kind of how I became involved here, was just taking that tour and getting to know Christy right away and just really vibing with everything.
How did you find us?
So we live in Galesburg, which is about 35 to 40 minute drive from here. And the funny thing is I had never been a guest at a wedding here. And I've heard about other people that we knew that had gotten married here, but had never experienced it myself. So we were just looking up places because we are close with all of our friends, family, wanted to have a good amount of people come, but we wanted people to easily have the opportunity to come. So we thought we wanted to look in our area of like no further than an hour away. So that's how we just kind of were like, let's check this place out. Really, the main reason was like the location of it and just it being close to family and friends. So, and I'm going to go off on a little story here. So we had toured places up in the Quad Cities and the Galena area, and this would be kind of like our place closest to home. And we have a lot of friends from the Monmouth area and stuff like that. So we thought this would be a good place to tour. And so at the time, like I said, this was our last place we toured. And we had 4 or 5 other places under our belt at that point. So we were able to kind of compare and contrast pros and cons of each different venue. So I knew in my head, when my personality is, I find something I like, I know it, I can make a decision, I'm set, period, let's go. And so Cody on the other end is like the opposite of that, but like in a good way. Like he'll have his options, he'll look at them, he'll research them. He wants to like really go in deep on everything and make a very thoughtful decision. So when we come here, we had all of our pros and cons of every place that we went to in the back of our head. And we get here, and not only is it a beautiful location, but we're welcomed by Christy off the bat. She's touring us, she's talking to us, she's sitting down, having a conversation with us. And when we left, I kind of had a thought in my head, like, this is my favorite. But I didn't want to give that away too much, because I wanted to see what his true feeling was on everything too. And so we're pulling out of the parking lot here, we're driving away, and he looks at me, he was like, well, what's your thoughts? And I just kind of named off, I like this, these are the things that I thought were pretty neat about the barn. And I just looked at him, I was like, well, what's your thoughts? And so he was like, this is it. He was like, I know you really love it. And he's like, we're not going to find another Christy. And we hadn't even made it out of Biggsville. That is a true story. And so like, to me, with knowing, if you know Cody and how thoughtful he is and just how much it takes for him to make a full-on decision, for him to be that like knowing right away off the bat, and for him to have that type of response was like, okay, like I feel good about this too. Like I think we're in the right spot, and it's true. And so like people will ask you like, well, why the barn? And it's the people. Like the reason we didn't. There's beautiful venues, and that's what we said. All the venues we looked at were beautiful, but not all of them had like a heart and soul. And the staff is what gives it its heart and soul for sure.
Are you good? You good over there? There is no one like our Christy.
So I feel like that was kind of like well, why did you pick the barn? Why is the barn special to you? Like, it's the staff, it's the people, like the owners, the event planners, all the staff makes such a big difference. Why I think people choose the barn or would want to choose the barn for sure.
That's really sweet. Moving on. That's very sweet. Well, then my next question is what made you fall in love with the barn at Fairview Acres? But Christy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and just like getting, and I guess I could kind of go, like, I feel like I have a deeper love for the barn as a whole and like the people here, because I've got to experience so much more than like the average couple that gets to, because I get to hang out a little bit more and linger. So and let me linger a little bit.
That one's always fun to have you here. And you've not only been a bride and a staff member, but you've been a guest at multiple weddings now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you've seen it from quite literally every angle.
Yeah. Which is a fun experience for both, like even Cody too. Like he was even a groomsman in a wedding here after ours. And then we were both a guest afterwards. And it just like getting to see it from all different angles and just having a great experience in every asset of that. So
Cody's been able to come to staff parties and see it from
Yeah.
that side. Like
Yeah.
he's seen
Yeah, so
all
we
of
just feel
us
like a real, yeah, a
in all of our
co-
glory.
a real connection. And I think at the end of the day, like when we picked when we sat down, we talked about things. We're like, this is going to be such an important day for us that we look back on and we have memories of, and that we have pictures of and videos of. Like, we want all the best people around us. So when we picked vendors, it wasn't just like willy nilly, like, oh, you're the cheapest price, or oh, like you're close by. It wasn't like that for us. We sat down, we thought, who did we connect with as people, and like felt like we're going to spend a lot of time with these people all day long on the most important day of our lives. At that point, we want it to be good people. So like when we picked out our vendors, it was people that we knew we were excited to be around, that we connected to, and it was just easy to do that with everybody here at the barn.
You're really good at this. You make me real emotional. I can't do it. Well, can you walk us through your wedding day and how the barn played a part in it?
Yeah. So, well, first off, and Christy and Dan being the owner, Christy was there at like 7 a.m. when we first walked in. She was the first person we saw. And Dan was there towards the end of the night. How many people can say like that's the case? And we got to, have fun and experience the day with them as well. So we walk in, Christy takes all the donuts right out of my hand, doesn't let us touch anything. But then sometimes I'm also like in work mode here too. It's just like, I don't know.
That would be so hard to let go of. Like
Let
I
me
know
hold
where
the door
things are
for you
going.
guys, at least. But so it was just really nice. And so we're welcomed by her. And I think one of the things I was the most excited about was showing all my close friends, my parents, Cody's mom. She came with us to get ready early in the morning. So we were the first group here. And the thing I was the most excited about was like showing them the place on the inside, but like introducing them to Christy, introducing them to you, and just like everybody that was going to be with us that day. It was just like Ben and like Eric, our photographer. I was just like, these people are so awesome. And we already have like a great connection. Like, I want you guys to get to know them. We're going to have so much fun today. So that was something I was really looking forward to. We come in, and the great thing about this place is just like the different rooms that are available. So this is kind of me being like a detail-oriented person and like just recognizing like the importance of each room and why it's there. So when we came in, we walk up the stairs, and like right behind me here is just kind of like a storage spot, organization where everybody can keep their stuff. And that's such a like key point to having in a venue, because then at the like all the girls had labels, wrote down their name, stuck their stuff in their little cubby in their bucket. It was like having a locker in the PE gym. Like everybody had a spot for their stuff. And I think that just made everybody feel at home too. Like, oh, I have my place here.
Right.
And then they felt safe leaving their personal items there. At the end of the day, they, like if someone needs help getting their stuff, okay, Vanessa, your stuff's right here. We got it. Here you go. You can head on home now. So that's such a nice thing too. And why I think that's so important is this is such a like aesthetically pleasing area and space. You're going to want to take pictures all over in here, getting ready, doing first looks. And if someone doesn't have a space for their Stanley Cup or their sweatshirt, it's just going to be laying out all over the place or on this couch while I'm doing a first look with my dad. But that was never the case, because that stuff had a place to be. So, I mean, just the thought of all of that has been like Christy, the staff, like everybody's thought all that through. And so it's just nice to have that space. Then we go over across the hall there, and you have a spot where I had 3 hairdressers doing everybody's hair. And the awesome part about that is you have 3 girls getting their hair done, but then the rest of us are sitting back on like comfy chairs, lounging, enjoying a conversation, and just being able to be together that day. And that's the whole point, is like not being spread out and apart, but to really spend that time while you're getting ready, because that's going to make you feel the most excited to be around your people as you get ready for your big day. And then right downstairs, you have a spot where they can do makeup. So everything was able to move smoothly and stay on like the timeline or the on pace, because there's the space for it. So then you have this room that we're in right now, which is just beautiful. The natural light coming in is perfect. And I was so worried that when we had our wedding day, it was going to rain, and then we wouldn't get to do any pictures outside. But then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that, because some of my favorite pictures are in this room, because it's just such a pretty room. And it's nice to have that option of, if this happens, we have a backup plan and it's going to be just as good. So, I mean, also kind of going off like the structure of the day, we had the ceremony practice, which we get to do right here with everybody, allows everything to move at a good pace again. And then the guys were getting ready in the bin, and so many people thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, no, the bridal suite, but like everybody was just, it's very eye appealing. It's the first thing you see when you pull up, and everybody's just very intrigued and curious about it. And so many people are like, oh, that's so cool, it's different, it's unique, and it's a place where the guys can shower, get ready, stay the night if they had to, So that's a really nice space too, that the guys utilize the day of our wedding day. And just like the whole building as a whole, like you can have your ceremony or your reception in the same spot. Not all places offer that, which was huge for us, and like definitely a factor. Like if the weather is not going to cooperate, we want to have a backup plan and not be stuck out in the rain or have bad weather. So having that made me feel more relaxed and not stressed going into the day. And then, which is my favorite part of like our wedding day, and I can kind of go into this a little bit later, but on the property, you go off. Dan took us in his Jeep. We had a Gator, 4-wheeler, whatever that's called, and we're side by side. We're driving, and we got to go off onto the property where there's a pond, and just like out in the middle of nowhere, it felt like. And it was right after, our reception had started. We had ate, we had done the dances, we did the speeches, but it was sunset time, and it was the most beautiful sunset that day. So we got really lucky with that, but it just felt like a break in the day where it felt like this is the first time me and Cody have really taken pictures, and there's not been that many people around. It was you, Ben, the videographer, Eric, our photographer, and then Dan, who owns, like an owner. And so just a really cool experience. And I remember Dan being like, what's your favorite song? What song do you want me to play right now?
I do remember that.
And I was like, this song on repeat. And
you did the damn thing, girl.
and so he blared it in his Jeep, and we just took some really good pictures and got some really good videos from that spot of the property. And I don't, when it's advertised, like you don't really see that thing, you see the barn itself, but there's so many beautiful pieces outside of it as well. And that was my favorite part of our wedding day.
I loved watching you, like, literally live your best life out there. You really did. It was my
you
favorite
guys boosted
thing.
our confidence. You made us feel like models, and we definitely
You looked
are
like
not.
models. What do you mean? It was so much fun. It was great.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And
it was
y'all
such
took
like
that
a
moment.
nice little fun. Yeah, Ryan was there that day too, and we had a blast with him. But it was just, it was a nice little break, and it was like you guys took us to a little spot, and it just felt very intimate and special, and that's something that I'll never forget for sure.
You were just the cutest. It is nice that I always tell my couples, like, to schedule in time for just you two, because I feel like even when you do that and you say, okay, we're going to take 10 minutes, there's always someone trying to come find you. There's always someone who needs something. There's always someone who wants to say goodbye. There's always someone who wants to give you a hug, and those things are great and amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not really a break and like a, okay,
Yes.
this is us time.
Yeah. Because that was the one thing. And I told our photographer, Eric, I said, I don't want to be gone long.
I
And
know
he's like,
you were here to party, girl. You were
I was
here to
like,
get down and
I
be with your
want-
people.
If I know, knowing what I know, like the bride and the groom's energy really feeds off on their guests. And like, if we're not here, they're going to be like, well, where is everything? And then they may leave. And that was like what I didn't want. And it didn't happen, but it was really nice. I'm like, oh, this is something that I was like worried about, this being in the back of my head, like, oh, we got to get back. But I kind of put that off to the side. And that was the time that we enjoyed the most. And Cody and I would both like agree on that for sure.
I love that so much. I love you guys so much. It was so much fun working with you guys. And that whole day was so awesome. How did the Fairview Acres staff support you in planning and on your wedding day?
In planning. Okay. So, I mean, I feel like I have a unique experience. Like we said before, I had the opportunity to work here quite a little over a year before our actual wedding day. And then, so I was kind of like doing like prepping and planning in my head based off of just having those experiences of being able to come in here. But then as a bride, we had conversations and sit down meetings, at least 2 or 3, leading up to the wedding. And it was just so nice because I'm a planner. I like to think ahead, and being able to sit down with you during that time, and Lindsay as well. Like, it was just nice. If any idea we had, it was always open, or let's look into that. Let me ask about that. I never felt like something was off the table or that we were just like being judged in any way. Like, it just felt like a very open and supported with what we wanted to do and how we wanted our wedding day to look for us. And so we got to sit down here and meet a couple times, and then it was really nice because we would go into the big shed where all the decorations are. And I think that's like a huge thing too that's really nice, is that I didn't buy any decorations. I wasn't trying to sell anything off of Facebook afterwards. Like, everything that we wanted was here and available to us, which was really nice. And we got to go in there and be creative and pull things. And I'm like, I don't know if I like this or this. Grab both. And
Absolutely.
So
you got to see it all.
Yeah, and so we just sat down, and we never felt rushed or like we got hurry up and make a decision on something. You guys did a great job of like taking the time. Let's make it what you want it to be. You're here, let's do it. So we really did appreciate that. And then just being able to answer phone calls or texts or emails, and you guys getting back to us right away. And just at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of planning and prepping that went on behind the scenes, but just like all the support and love that we felt like internally was really nice and supportive too. So like, not only did you take care of us that day of the wedding, but like that support was felt like from everybody, our parents, our bridesmaids, our groomsmen, things like that. Like, everybody was taken care of in the best way, and nice that we didn't have to worry about them or worry about how they were feeling.
You did worry about them and worry about how they were feeling. You were
a little bit, but I'm an anxious person, and it was a hot day that day.
But it was a hot day, but I also loved, I think from the jump, Courtney, you were like, I know you were so excited to marry Cody, and like, it was so clear and so obvious, but like, I remember that morning after rehearsal, we rehearsed ceremony, and then you're like, no, we gotta rehearse.
Oh yeah.
The introductions and the dance tunnel.
Yeah.
And I remember you hyping these people up, being like, we're going to have a great time. I need you to get down on the dance floor. This is number one. Like, that was like the standout moment of me for that whole day. I just loved it so much, how much you loved your people. And you're like, listen, no, I love Cody. And like, I'm so excited to marry him, but also you guys. I need you guys to make sure you're having a good time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want everybody to have a good time that day. Absolutely. And like, it was like, there was one time I did feel a little anxious, and I worry about, because those are our friends, our family. We wanted them to have as much fun as we were going to have and have such a good experience. And it was warm that day. And some of the guys got, I think, a little overheated or, whatever. And, were feeling lightheaded or sick. And I was like, oh no, this could have been a real problem But Cassie, Lindsay, they noticed it. They took care of it. They grabbed like wet towels. They cooled them off. They grabbed fans. They grabbed Gatorade, like, and water, whatever it was that those guys needed at the time. They got it, and they got it right away. And so then that, if that wasn't the case, I would have sat there and I would have worried about that until I knew they were okay. But I saw that you guys stepped in, you and Lindsay, and then some of the other staff that was working the bar that day, they just stepped right in, and I was like, they got it. And then we went and told everybody else, thank you for being here. and then didn't think twice about it. Like, I knew they were going to be okay.
Tried so hard to make you not see.
Yeah.
We tried so hard. But you know, they were right there. They were right there.
That would have been that would have been hard for me if it wasn't just swept up and taken care of right away by you guys.
We want to make sure everybody's okay, but I also want to make sure that you're in your wedding moment and
Right.
not worried about home dog.
Yeah.
Who overheated. We had his back.
Yeah.
I just remember standing back there. I was like, 1, 2, 3, gap. There's not supposed to be a gap there.
Yeah.
There's not a gap. Where is he?
Yeah.
We found him. He was
They
good.
because
rallied.
you guys were quickly able to like recognize and give them the care that they needed at that
And
point.
it was still a
that
beautiful
just
ceremony.
Very appreciated. My first thought was it was Cody's friend Riley, and I'm calling him out on it, but
Call
he's
his ass.
also someone that's just like takes in the moment and is just like, this is beautiful. And I'm like, Riley, I love that you're sitting here watching our ceremony.
But
and really,
get
like,
up.
but like, you're supposed to be standing up with Cody. What are you doing? But also just like so listening to like the ceremony and Joel giving, his talk, and it's just like, at that time you're just like, you have a lot of eyes on you and you're like, that makes no sense, but I get it. But
I love that your first thought was like, oh, that's sweet. Why are that's
like,
kind.
She's just really into this, right?
You just really had to take
But
it
that
on.
is the natural thought, because upon meeting him, he's very high energy, laughy, like in the moment,
very
kind of
sweet,
dude.
yeah.
Like absolutely.
Yeah,
It was
so I
great.
was like, wow,
I remember
that's
looking
really
and I was like,
sweet.
is he? And I was like, let's go check. And I was like, I come running back. I was pale as ghost. We need stuff. He is pale.
Yeah. Oh. And he had a much better experience the second time he was here too.
He
as a
did.
guest.
He did. I lectured him the second he walked in the door. I did. I said, hey, buddy, not about you today.
Luckily, that wedding was in
Get it together.
September, end of
Yeah.
September.
Get it
So he was all
together. Oh, I feel like everyone's wedding party definitely like wants to have fun and wants to be there for them and like wants, but they're also so focused on like, okay, how do we make this the most perfect day ever for Courtney and Cody? But like you gave them that relief of like, okay, no, we get to like get down and have a good time and like not stress. Cause I feel like even wedding party carries that stress of like, okay, we got to make sure everything's perfect. And they're like,
Yeah. And
we all want to be here together in that moment.
I think Cody and I we're pretty laid back people in general, but we felt like less stress and that we could feel those feelings and have fun and be excited and be in the moment because we had nothing to worry about. Like, we knew that everything was going to get taken care of. We had the best people supporting us that day. And at the end of the day, we're just like, we're here to get married and have fun. And
we're going to get you married one way or the other.
Yeah.
I promise.
It was just,
we'll get you married.
It was the stress. Like, a lot of people talking about like, oh, our wedding day was so stressful, or I hated my wedding day, or it was awful, or this happened. And they think about the negative, and I'm just so grateful that we had such a great group of people that allowed us not to have those feelings or even have to worry about having those feelings in the first place. So that kind of like reflects back on you guys too.
That's very sweet. And I don't, it makes me sad that like anyone's like, oh, it was stressful or this. I'm like, well, give it to someone else. Give it to me. Give it to Lindsay. Give it to Christy.
And
we got it.
That's exactly what you say. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Give it to me.
Yep. You're like,
got it.
let me take care of it.
I got
this. Go have fun.
Go sit your butt down.
Yeah. And so it's nice because it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to like be genuine and actually mean that too. Like, I do care. I want to take this from you so that you don't have to be stressed out.
I stand
about
10
this.
toes on that, baby.
And that's like from day one of the planning process to the wedding day itself, and taking everything out to the car and loading it up and saying goodbye. Like, I
didn't like saying goodbye to you that night. I did not like it.
But yeah, it's just a stress-free process because you guys really you take the handle on that for sure.
No, we love you. We love you so much. So what piece of advice would you give someone or a couple getting married here at the barn?
So it's funny because I really don't have advice other than book the barn. I mean, we have.
I'll take it.
Because and I say that because we had 2 really close friends get engaged after us. And I mean, the main thing we talked about was just our experience with the staff and everybody here, how nice of the location is and how aesthetically beautiful it is, how it's nice to have the option of if the weather's bad, if, you can come inside, you can come outside. And I think just sharing our genuine experience and how we felt on our day, and they were also guests at our wedding, so they got to see that firsthand as well. I mean, it was like an easy sell. Like, am I getting commission? No, I'm joking. Well, I'm not a salesperson, and I don't. And Cody and I are both very genuine. Like, I'm not gonna say something if I don't mean it. But
100%.
like, and our friends know that, and we're like, hey, like, we wouldn't say this if we didn't mean it. But if you're gonna get married, do it there. And so 2 of our close friends ended up having a wedding here that following September and October. And it was so much fun to be a guest. And so like the advice I would say is do your planning, do your prepping, but don't stress, because don't have that anxiety or stress leading up to it, because you won't need it. They got it. They got taken care of. So my advice is to people, friends, book the barn, and
I get 10% back.
book the barn for your venue. You won't regret it, and just enjoy the moment. Be present.
100%.
Be present. Anything that you would say to someone getting married is be present. Be close to the person that you're getting married to that day, and just really take it all in with them, because everything else is covered. You don't gotta worry about anything else. Just be there with your person and enjoy it, because it goes by fast.
It does. I
And
think that's
would
great
say
advice.
The beautiful thing about working with you and Cody is the fact that you're not an indecisive woman. And so we and you clearly communicated what you wanted and how you wanted the day to go. And what that did is set us as a team up for success.
Right.
Because then there weren't any question marks on our side. Like, how do we make them happy? Oh, we know exactly how to make them happy.
Yeah.
So you were a very easy couple, so to speak, to work with.
Yeah.
The couples are all amazing, but some communicate more than others. And you communicated so well that it made our job simple.
Well, and I thank you guys for that, because I'm not a wedding expert by any means, but I almost felt like one going into it because of the experience I had as a staff member here. I mean, I got to see things from like all different types of ceremonies and weddings and receptions, from the point of getting to work with different vendors that were coming in and getting to know them. And just, it was just really nice having an idea, like behind the scenes, hey, if I do this, then I know that that's going to make this go a little bit better. Like just simple type of organization things. I mean, one thing that I noticed a bride did for a wedding that I worked was the things that they brought in, I knew were decorations or different food and snacks that they brought in for the day. And I knew at some point those are going to have to go back out with them. Well, how's that work out? Well, the staff at the barn does a great job of not letting other people lift a finger, and they carry everything out to the car. But how can you make that easier for those staff members? You label everything. So I kind of created a list, which I saw another bride did, so I stole it from her. And I was like, this is genius. They should make everybody do this ahead of time. But it is just nice for me knowing too where my personal belongings, my vow book, things that were important to me are going to be where they need to be at the end of the day. And so you just kind of created a list. This picture frame that I have, I want that to go in this bag in my mom's car, which is a gray Jeep. Just having those types of details seems like, wow, that's a lot. But if you do that ahead of time, give that to the staff, then they know what to do with it, and you don't have to worry about it at all. So there is some planning and prepping, but all of that was stolen ideas from other people by being a staff member here.
I do remember us packing up that wedding, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this. This is great. I love this. We were very excited about that list.
I was like, this is a
It was
genius.
great
And
list.
it just works so, it was like being on the other side of it too. I'm like, I know what it's like to be a staff member, and that it's a long day for them. How can I make their job a little bit easier by doing something simple as just organizing something and putting a label on it? So, yeah, all kind of helps.
I feel like you're just an organized queen.
I think
You are
so,
very
sometimes.
good at organizing. I can't. Exactly. You got to keep them kids in check. So
Structure is great.
Structure, quick transitions.
Yeah. There's another thing I would like to mention.
pop off. Sorry.
So, one thing that makes this, like, you guys great, and I don't know because I don't have other experiences in other places, but one thing that I love about being a staff member here that I got to see behind the scenes, but then also get to experience as like a bride getting married here, was the connections that you guys make with the vendors. So if it has, I mean, it could be someone catering food in. Every wedding that I've worked, every caterer is like, we love coming to the barn. We feel respected. We feel heard. We feel seen. Like, they take care of us. We take care of them. At the end of the day, the bride and the groom are happy, or the couple's happy. And so that's such a nice thing that I liked seeing, was just how everybody that walks in these doors are feeling so welcomed. And like, we had a DJ that was a close friend that worked with Cody. He had never been here before, but he was welcomed, you know, like, he was like, wow, if I was going to keep DJing, like, I would want to come here all the time. And so that's just really nice. And then our videographer, photographer, I felt like you guys had recommended and had a good relationship with him prior. But just being able to be on the same page, having those connections already made with you guys, made us feel like, oh, we're all like a big group. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's feeling welcome here. Everybody's safe to, you know, be creative and do their thing. And like, that's just, like, that allowed us to have such a great experience, because the people that we were bringing in, caterers, guests, everybody was taken care of and felt the love from you guys too.
Well, and I feel like, you know, as like a staff member being here, you know that if we've got the caterers back and we have a good vibe with the photographer, everything just runs smoother. We all know we're all here to support the couple and support every guest who walks in the store, in these stores.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I want to love and make sure they feel like they can come to me with any random question. Hey, do you have a charger? Hey, where do I do this? Hey, can we go? Whatever. I want to make sure they're comfortable coming to us, and like, especially, I don't want them to have to bother the couple ever for something that hopefully we could fix or provide. And that's something the couple doesn't need to think about. Yeah. Unless it's very specific to your needs of like, hey, do you want a picture in front of this thing? Right. That I can't answer for you. You know?
Yeah. And I just think that makes people want to come here even more. And so that was one thing I noticed as a staff member and being a bride here. It was just like, wow, there's the way they connect with everybody is just, it's so obvious in such a good way.
Well, as a staff member, I love working with you. How has a bride influenced your approach as a staff member?
So
working forward.
Yeah. So I mean, I think one thing that Christy had noticed so we were touring, and I remember we were out by like the patio lights, and I'm like, did you do this on purpose? Because this seems very romantic.
Did you cue the deer?
No, the beautiful thing. So
I've never felt courted before.
It was later in the day, and if I have a later tour, I always turn on the bistro lights, because during the day it doesn't matter, but at night I'm like, oh, you can even see the lights on.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for patio lights. So
I'm a sucker for a good cafe light.
But no, it was just so pretty, and the lights were shining down, and I felt like, wow, like she had connected so well with Cody and I both, but like, it was just so nice to feel like she kind of heard what we were looking for, and for her to take so much pride and passion in showing us what she loved, it was so obvious, and it was like, it's easy to love something like that. So we just easily fell in love with the barn and Christy all in that short amount of time. And then she caught me off guard and was like, hey, like, I can tell, like, when we've had conversations going through our tour, you're detail oriented. I'm sure we showed up on time, you know, like just different types of skills that she recognized in me. And that made me feel special just in that amount of time. Like, oh, wow, you noticed that. Like, thanks. So, you know, and she's like, those are the types of skills that we want our staff to have. And so, you know, she had offered that opportunity to me, and I was like, yeah, like that took me, I was not expecting that. And I'm like, well, let me get back to you. And I thought about that. I was like, wow, like what a fun opportunity. One, because I can start taking that money that I earn and saving it up for our wedding. Two, I can kind of get ideas of like what other people are doing, what works, what doesn't work. But then three, like, I already feel a connection to Christy, but now that's going to even grow with everybody that works at the barn. And that's what it's all about, is like the connections that you make with the staff. It's the people that make it special. And we knew that. So I'm like, wow, like this is going to give me an opportunity to really get to know everybody here too. And then like that's going to make our wedding day even more special, because we'll feel even more connected and special to the people that we're sharing it with besides our family and friends. So, I mean, that was, what was the question again?
I don't know. So now that you've been a bride,
so
and when
now
you
that
come back as a staff member, do you
yep.
think like anything will feel different, or like you'll approach
Yeah.
any situations differently?
So now, like being a bride, well, leading up to that, being a staff member, because I was a staff member before I was a bride for quite a while. And I just got to see you guys model how you love everybody and how passionate you are. And when you see that modeled, it's so easy for you to just like dive into as well. And so seeing that made me like just love this place even more from the back, like behind the scenes type aspect of it. And then that made me want to be like, I want to feel this way on my wedding day. I want to feel the love that they're giving me. So I need to give that back to everybody. So just like the model behavior that you guys showed for every wedding that I've ever worked, and seeing the reaction of the guest, the couple's families, like, you guys are the best. Like, oh my gosh, thank you for everything. Like, there was never any negativity at all that I ever heard or saw or witnessed. It was just always such positive feedback. And so I'm like, that you just I want to keep giving that too. It's just almost contagious, the positive love that is shown here. So then being able to really just keep showing that and showing up for the couple every time they came in was just easy to do. So it was just like, when it was knowing the way my wedding day was, if I was not like, this is kind of going off a little tangent here, but like, I'm not a cleaner. I hate cleaning. But like when I picked up that vacuum here, I was like, I want to clean this place because this is spotless. And it means something to someone else. Like, I want this to look nice and clean for my wedding day. I want those people to feel the exact same way because they pay for this. They earn that too. And I think just having that mindset of like, I want my experience to be good, I want other people's experience to be good, kind of stuck with me for every event that I worked here. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's just kind of the way I thought of it. And you guys modeled that. And it was just easy to kind of just flow into that as well.
Well, and you fit in perfectly with the staff too, because I mean, I think it may have come to blows like, do I get to work Courtney's wedding? Like, people were calling, put me down for a wedding. Do you have a bartender? I'll bartend. Like, and it was multiple staff members wanting to make sure they got to work your day.
It's great to love on every couple, but like when it's one of our own, man, it is
different.
something
the
else.
team is fighting to be
else.
there to serve.
Yeah, I mean, because every couple that I had worked there with, they were strangers, but sometime you leave at the end of the night and you're like, wow, I just feel like I was part of their family. But you also got to experience one of the biggest days of their lives. And it's just so special. Like
It is.
it's a fun job. I mean, you can't go wrong. Like you get to celebrate a love every day, and it's that you work here. So it's a positive, happy environment.
Nobody can be mad at a wedding.
No.
Hopefully.
And if
what I
they
say.
do, you just
That
kinda
is what I
like,
say. That is
shoo
what
them.
we say. That is what we say. Can you share a behind the scenes moment as a staff member that truly reflects the venue's values?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought that the first thing that came to my mind was just like when you think behind the scenes, you're like, what's really going on behind the scenes? And I think of like when I come in, I feel like we're prepping for a game day.
Yeah.
Like we got
get
our
that.
uniforms on, we're in the black, we have the name tag on, we're looking nice for everybody, we have a smile on our face. It feels like I'm a professional athlete when I come in here. Like as an employee, like I feel like let's go.
Like we need to start calling out games.
But it's true. It's just like this is a game day. Like everybody's pumped up, everybody's excited, and it's just like you have like your coach and you got your team and you're prepping your team. And one thing that I love before like we come in and before the ceremony, before everything really gets started, the team, the staff all meet in like the back room, and it's like coach has got the lineup up on the board. Like
Love that so much.
here
I do love that. I mean, yeah.
And it's something that we didn't have when I first started working here, and we kind of evolved and it was up there. It's just like on the board for everybody to see, this is the couple, this is their name, these are their parents, this is the situation, and these are the cars that they're driving at the end of the day. I mean, like, it's all laid out, but it's easy to read. This is the specialty drink. This is how we make it, because I'm not a bartender, so I need a menu. Like, I'm just like, let's go. We got this. And it just makes everybody feel like prepared and excited. And then not only do we do you go over the game day, like you go over the plan, you lay it out for us, but then we sit down and we're just all like, okay, like everybody's good. You know, you and Lindsay both do a great job. Like if you got any questions, let me know. And you always make yourself available, whether it's like a text message, you see it come through on your watch, you're right there, you're answering questions, you're making everybody feel like they know what they're doing as a staff member. And I'm sure that's really hard because your main goal at the end of the day is making sure that that couple is being seen and you're answering and questions, and you're getting pulled in so many different ways with vendors, the couple, their families. And so it's just, you make yourself so available for everybody to be in such a good spot and to be able to give it their all that day. But then like we have a little like cheer chant, like everybody's pumped up and ready, but then we also like pray over the couple that day. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't know that goes on behind the scenes. And that's like why I call like the staff the heart and soul of the barn. Like every venue has a bar or a kitchen or a nice pretty setting, but they don't have the heart and soul that the barn has. They don't have everybody, staff ready to go, excited, pumped up to be there and praying over them before the biggest day of their life. Like that's something special that Narbane knows but should know, because it's what makes it so great.
Feels like words of affirmation, and I'm not having a good time, guys.
That's the way I show love, though.
It makes
words
me
of affirmation.
physically ill.
So I'm a words of affirmation person, so I love giving words of affirmation, but I don't give false praise.
Yeah.
So before Linz doesn't like it either, and so before I give them words, I'll text them like words incoming.
Yeah, she has to prepare us, and then I'm like,
This
I
is
might
happening.
not respond for 10 to 15 minutes.
Prepare
because I
yourself
wanna feel
emotionally.
like-
Do you know how brilliant you are?
wanna
Do you
vomit.
understand how you murdered this wedding? Do you get how fantastic? Thanks. So in the heart, love you.
Well, you sent messages like that to me, and I'm like, okay, now I get to do it back. And the
I don't
thing
get
is,
you guys.
The thing too, and I'm a big words of affirmation person. Like I like receiving that. I like giving that. That's how like I don't want a gift. I don't want to give out a gift. I'd rather write a card out and like let people know how I feel, because I think that matters. Maybe it doesn't for everybody, but to me, like, stop.
Yours is in my office.
But yeah, that's how I like to show love. And And for me being that way, like can we cuss on this? Like, I can weed through bullshit really quick, is what I'm trying to say. But, like, when someone's genuine and when they mean it and when it's fake. And I don't do fake. And I'm black and white in that area. And it's like when someone's talking to me and I've connected with them and they're saying, like, I feel it and I feel it from here, like, that means something to me. And, like, you guys have all shown that. And so it's just, it's so genuine. Like, everything that I've said isn't just like because we're doing this podcast. Like, I'm not saying this to say, I'm saying it because I mean it, like,
Yeah, wait, she gets the 10% after
but
this, man.
it's the truth. It's like, there's no BS here. It's all, what you see is really what you get, 100%, period.
And that's on period. Thank you for bringing that in, because, I mean, I know that, like, Christy and Dan have set such a baseline of we give our all to these couples. That's why we meet and we make sure everyone's ready and we pray and we make sure God is the center of their marriage and watching over them. It's just really hard that I know that, that's the values we have, but hearing it, I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I'm not having a good time anymore. Not having a good time. It is nice, I think, for people to know, though, that we genuinely do care.
Yep, it's very genuine.
We genuinely care, and we genuinely love the people who come to these doors, and we genuinely want to make everyone feel special and important, and not just the couple or the wedding party or their parents, but, like, as guests. Like,
Yep.
You've taken time out of your lives to come celebrate these people and love on them. Let us love on you.
Yep. Yeah.
And I do love that you get to see that from, again, every angle.
Yeah. I mean, to the point where there's no trash can. There's no trash cans anywhere.
No, don't.
Laying out in, like, where people are eating. Like, we don't want you to pick up your trash. Like, we'll come around, we'll take care of you so that you can really
just be present.
Be present and enjoy the moment. And yeah, and I think every wedding I've worked, or even my own wedding, I was like, where do we throw away our stuff? I was like, don't. They got it. Like, we got it.
I know it's hard to tell people. Just leave it. I will be. Just
but yeah,
leave
leave
it.
just
Put it down. Put it down.
Like,
put it down. I'm coming.
All guests have, like, such a good experience here. I mean, there's been so many times where, like, everybody that worked my wedding or was a guest or family members, they're just like, wow, just blown away by, like, the people here and just the experience they got as a whole. It's like, yes, it was my wedding day, but I think it was like a nice experience for everybody to enjoy, which is nice because some people travel a long way to be a guest at a wedding, and then, someone talks to them or is rude to them, and it's just like kind of can ruin their day, and that just doesn't happen here. So
you were also surrounded by some seriously great people.
Yeah.
You got some great people in her life.
yeah.
Gonna call it Riley, except for Riley, who passed out. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Smiley Riley.
Smiley Riley, he was.
He puked and rallied. Let's face it.
He did. He made it. He was great. He was great. If you could sum up your wedding day in one word, what would it be? And why?
That's hard. It's hard
One
because
word.
I'm not a one-word type gal.
One word.
But
She said affiliate link, one word.
But if I had to do one word, the first word, like, that comes to my mind is just happy. Like, it seems simple, but, like, to the point, like, to describe my wedding day, like Cody and I's wedding day, it was happy. There was no stress. There was no worries. We were just anxious, excited, like kids on Christmas morning, like getting ready to, like, have a big day, and for everybody to experience that day with us, whether it was family, friends, the vendors coming in. We were just so happy and excited to be surrounded by all the people, to eat all the good food, have the drinks, do all the fun dancing. Like, it was just a happy time in general for us, and I, like, thank you guys for allowing us to feel that way and to have that experience and to be able to say happy is the word I choose, because there was nothing bad about that day at all. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving us, like, such a good happy day.
It makes my heart sing. You take the compliment. Take
Yeah.
it. You just say thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
You're so good at it.
You. But no. What does the barn do to make every wedding feel unique and special?
Well, every wedding that I've worked has been different. And so, and seeing that on the staff side, I feel like you guys make each wedding unique and special in its own way because of each couple's unique and special. And you guys make a huge effort as a whole staff to get to know the couple, to take that time when you're planning and prepping and having those meetings ahead of time. You genuinely are wanting to get to know them, what they're interested in, what they like. And you remember that. It sticks with you. And so then it allows for you guys to have really embrace that couple and have their wedding day be their own, because you guys know them at that point, and you really make them feel special and comfortable, like we were saying earlier, like to be their more outgoing, comfortable self. And just each couple makes it like they can make it themselves, like what they want to bring to it and what they want to incorporate in their day. And you guys just really shine a light on that for sure.
Every couple is special and unique, and you've got couples like Cody and yourself who like you guys are gonna make sure everyone's loved and be, get out there. And then you've got our reserved couples who are like, I don't as much time as no one looking at me is great, and we'll make sure we try and get that done as best we can. But
And
it is about you.
I feel like too, like I'm sure you guys could say this, but like every wedding that I've worked, there's been a part where it's like, oh, that was my favorite part because of this. And there was like, it was like a New Year's Eve wedding. And that was one of my favorites because it was just a really fun, energetic couple. And that was something that was like unique to them, was they were just fun. They're energetic. They played basketball. And I remember that because that stood out to me. And we allowed that side of them to come out and let them be their unique, true selves. And one thing that they did was, because they were athletes and they like to get pumped up, they did like the pump up thing before the reception, where they kind of created a tunnel, and it was like a sports jam song, and it made it like they were the starting 5 lineup, but it was their bridal party. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. Like, that's so fun. And it was so fun. Like, that was my favorite part of their wedding. But then there was a wedding that I worked more recently in the fall, and it was a more reserved, quiet couple, smaller wedding, but it was so intimate and special. And they shared their vows and the things that they like. And I remember this because the guy, we were both tearing up. All of us that were the staff in the back were watching the ceremony. And I just remember the groom saying during his vows, like, you are so special to me. Like, I love you so much. You are going, if I die first, you're going to be the first person I look for in heaven. And I'm like, melted.
I remember that. Yep.
But it's things like that. How do I remember someone else's vows? How do I remember someone else's tone? Like, I've went to lots of weddings and there's things I don't remember, but being behind the scenes and really just like getting to know that couple for who they are and appreciating and loving who they are and what they bring, it's just like things like that stick with you because the connection that you made with them that day. And the connection I make is different than the connection that you make. I'm more behind the scenes in my roles, and you get to know the couple ahead of time before the wedding. So I'm sure it's even like, I'm sure there's plenty of
There's a lot of fun
specific moments
and
conversations that stick with you. They're like, wow,
and
that
was
was
my favorite part of like getting to know every couple and being like, I know them and I know how to make them happy and, bring out their joy and make their day easier. Or even if they're like, okay, they're type A and we got to stick on a schedule. All right, I'm gonna make that happen. So that's not on their brain of what time is it?
Yeah.
Like, let me get that. But I love getting to know every couple. And it was a whole different special thing with you of like getting to know you prior and then getting to know you as a bride and like
a unique opportunity.
It was a unique
sure.
opportunity that I'll never take for granted.
I won't take that for granted.
Why do you believe Fairview Acres is a place where love stories come to life so beautifully?
Oh, that's a really sweet question. Well, I mean, the whole reason people come here is because they found their person and they want to get married and they want to do it in a special setting. And like Cody and I, our experience was we'd been together for a while. We got engaged and we knew kind of the idea of like where we wanted to get married, what we wanted the venue to have. But like I had said before, like this venue's different than the others because it's not just a pretty place. It's the people that work here and the staff that help keep this place, you know, what it is like the heart and the soul of it. And so when you feel like the passion and the love that's from within, it's easy to feel that love coming in and to make it even more brighter than what it was.
You speak so beautifully. Do you know that about yourself?
You can tell she's
You're
a
so
teacher,
eloquent.
right? Yeah. You got to be clear with those littles. No, I love
But
it.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like it's everybody. Well, and a wedding is such like a special thing too, and something that a lot of couples and you know, like people will fantasize or dream about or like experience. And funny thing was like I never really thought about it in that way. I was like, you know, you get married, it'll be nice, hopefully have it in a nice place. And I think the more experiences that you have and you go to different weddings, you kind of like, oh, like this could be this way for me, or this is how I'd want my wedding to be. This would be special to me. But then when I got to work so many weddings, it was like I got to fall in love with a couple. And then I got to fall in love with this place because it made it such a special. It's the setting, it's the home that's created for all these people's love story to begin as a married couple. That's really good.
That was really good. That was really
But
good.
you
She
never-
goes, clip that 10%. Thank you.
But you don't think about that. But like me, just like kind of like thinking that out of like, why do people's love story, like, what was the question again? Like what was the, like, why is it a start of people's love story or something? But it's like people come in and they're already feeling happy. They're in love. They're getting married. But then you come here and this is like the home base and you're feeling nurtured by all of your guests, all of your loved ones, your closest friends and family, plus the staff that are showing you so much love that day and like beyond that, before and after that, you guys check in and, you know, like even as a guest, I've always felt the love. You know, it's not like, oh, your wedding day happened, see you later. But this is a home base of where that all starts. It's a foundation. It's the home.
I thought you said I found Asia. I was like, what?
But yeah, like if this is the foundation, this is the home where that all really just comes together as one. You're bringing two families together as one. And that's such a special thing. And not every job, not every career gets to do that, but you guys get to build the love story and set them free at the end of the day. And, you know, but like, what a great way to start.
Well, it's a nice layout, whatever. But like you said, there's pretty places all over the place.
Yeah.
That's not hard to do if you're
No,
trying to figure
right.
out
Oh,
how to
absolutely.
build something.
No.
The hiring is the hardest part. The creating the culture
Yeah.
is the hardest part.
And that starts with like you too, like where you started that and like your idea and your leadership and how you model that. Like there's so many things that you've said that I've kept with me, and I think about that not even as a staff member here. Like when you say, oh, you look so pretty today, or I love your shirt. Like one thing you're like, when you say that to someone, make sure they're not standing next to someone else because it's gonna make them feel like you don't like their shirt. Yeah. And that's gonna make them sad, you know? And it was like things like that. I'm like, wow, that was just like, that's really nice to even think that someone thinks like that, you know? And just like those, like something that you just say and you're not even trying to like push that or like, you know, teach that, but it's just like, it's so natural because that's you, and you hear that and you're like, wow, like that's something that's going to stick with me. Like I'm going to make sure, because I like to compliment people, but I never really thought about it like that.
The how and when. And the word today is so painful. Like when someone says, you look so nice today.
Yep.
Which means every other day, what have I looked like?
Yeah.
So today, I look nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause
I looked terrible yesterday.
Yeah.
Welcome to the mind of a woman. But I'm just saying, like, it's
just
says something.
Your
Yeah.
thoughtfulness and like your mindset in that, and just how you talk to people and how you treat people, it's a genuine thing, and it's just like, it's so easy to just be like engulfed in that type of personality and want to be better. Like you guys do a good job of making your staff want to be better, I think.
Every day.
Yeah. I mean, because it's also too, it's like everybody's on an equal playing field too. Like we all come here to have that day be like successful for the couple, but it's not like a power trip or anything. Like you're the owner, but like you're laying out donuts. And you know what I mean? It's just like, but I love that about you. Like you do, because you do such a great job too of just like taking the compliments, but also like taking like, what are some things that we need to work on? What are some things that we need better? Because you want to be better and you want this to be the best that it can be. And like not everybody's like that. Like, so you make people feel like comfortable even saying, hey, like, what about this idea? Or here's some feedback on that, or, and not every place that I've ever worked where the leadership was like that, so you guys do a good job leading from the top. And that's just like behavior that's modeled for everybody like to see. And it's hard to be the asshole when everybody else is like, nice. like if you show that, and like in any job, if I was ever a leader, or like if I ever wanted to become a principal someday, I will always think about like the way you've done things here. Like, I'm gonna model this, I'm gonna know all the things so that I can relate to the staff that's cleaning the bathroom. Like, and it's just so nice to be able to relate to you and to talk to you, like, just, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is to pass people, when they see owner on my name tag, which I've contemplated just taking it off, but I find out interesting things because then people will divulge things to me because they think, well, they know I'll make a change. Like if there's a change, they'll be like, you know what you should do? They may not tell anyone else that, but when they'll come up to me and ask a very important question, like, oof, I just work here. The boss is Cassidy. You need to talk to Cassidy or Lindsay. I can look up the details, but she's your person.
Yeah.
Oh, the response is always interesting, but I love passing that off.
Yeah.
Because you are the boss of the day. You're leading
Yeah.
the charge, like literally. It's funny, they think I'm such an important person as the owner. You know who? It's
I just have all
Lindsay
the
and Cassidy
things
and
in the brain.
staff. What?
I just have all the things in the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most,
But you guys
most
do
days.
a great
Most
job
days.
of just like
Well, you have-
leading the day and like getting to know the couple and sitting on those meetings and
You have all the notes of the day, you have all the details, but you have all the give a damn too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, piles of that. So it's a perfect combination.
Yeah.
I know, words. You'll be okay. Just breathe through it.
But yeah,
Thank
but
you.
no, all of that, yeah, all that you guys do and what you genuinely show, it trickles down. And when people, like as a staff member, feel respected, then they're gonna want to give that respect, and they're gonna want to give you 100% back. Like, like she treated me like a good, respected person, and I know it comes from a genuine place. I want to give her 100% because I know her passion in this building and her investment and everything that she's put into this. I want to give that back to her the best that I can. So, yeah, and like that goes for both of you guys. Like you guys have both put a lot of time and effort and into all of it, and like all the things that people don't see, like at the end of the day too, like the hard work this the next day, or all that nobody sees. Like you guys do a good job of all that, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney, for all your advice and wisdoms and kind words. and all the things.
You know what? And service to every single other couple that's been through here.
Amen.
That you've loved on.
Yeah.
I still very distinctly remember you dancing in front of the bar at that New Year's Eve wedding.
I do remember.
There were
so
some
hard not
sweet
to.
moves that were happening. Oh, I mean, that was a good time.
was a good time.
But
Yeah.
you're
So
an
much.
absolute blessing.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to do this and to be a bride and share the uniqueness of being a staff member and getting to do all the things and see all the behind the scenes. Makes it even more special and memorable.
It's one we'll always hold in our hearts. We'll renew your vows in 5 years. Let Cody know.
Okay.
Join us next time on Fab Chats. Did I nail it this time?
That was perfect.
What did I say the first time? That was so wrong. Oh, you guys were just... Done.